Bună ziua, mulțumesc pentru invitație. And I'm privileged to take part virtually to this very important event. I know that you are physically in person la Cercul Militar, one of the most beautiful buildings and architecture styles, not only for Bucharest, but for the rest of Europe. Your topic that you're discussing these days is critical also for NATO, and I'd like to say a few words on how NATO looks at the next generation of a partnership between industry and defense. I salute the efforts made by the Ministry of National Defense in Romania and the Ministry of Economy of Romania, to the Parliament of Romania, and to all of you, people from industry, ambassadors from allied nations and partners, on this very topical issue. The war that Russia waged against Ukraine triggered an unprecedented level of outcry in our public opinions, of unity inside NATO, and of a determined way to bring more of our strength together. As we speak, allies are supporting Ukraine at the speed of war. In Ramstein, just a few days back, a coordination process for military support for Ukraine has been created. Massive support comes not only for defense and the military of Ukraine, but also for financial support, humanitarian support. Everything can be seen in a package. But one of the issues that we are now confronted with is that the fact that the stocks, the capacity of our industrial base in NATO countries to supply the kind of equipments and munitions and higher level equipments to Ukraine is showing also the limitation of our industrial base. And I believe this is an encouragement for all of us, from all allies, the bigger allies and the more solid economically and technological allies, also to the allies that are so exposed on the eastern flank. It's an invitation to think afresh. It's an invitation to create new synergies. It's an invitation to better spend the taxpayers' money that is going to defense. I salute the fact that Romania has indicated its willingness to increase defense spending to 2.5% of GDP. Many other countries like Germany are doing the same. Poland has reached 3%. So there will be probably more resources in order to do this. And I think it will be a missed opportunity for us to replicate the existing system, especially in countries like Romania or like Poland or the others that still have legacy equipment. And as we are helping Ukraine to move to Western equipments and we train them to operate those systems, I think it's an invitation for the Eastern flank countries that are newer to the alliance to think creatively together with the rest of the alliance on a new model of partnership between defense and industry. This should also be useful for our economies. I think will be only normal and moral for the more money we ask from our taxpayers for defense to go back into our industries, to create jobs, to retain talent, to create higher-end R&D for defense, and have that effect of not only for the defense industry, but for the whole economic ecosystem in Romania, in Europe, across the Atlantic, and with our partners from all over the world. This is an imperative issue. I know that my colleagues in NATO working with many of the allies, with all the allies, on the new cycle of defense planning will incorporate some of this. I know that there are bilateral discussions and agreements amongst many allies. That's something we encourage. But I also encourage you to look at NATO as the natural platform to create momentum, to create solutions, and also to create economies of scale. In Madrid, in a few weeks from now, our leaders will agree on a new posture on the eastern flank of NATO. More robust, more permanent, and multi-domain. This also leads to the need for pre-positioned equipments. This will probably lead to the need to have warehousing, which eventually could be done together. I'm telling you this because this is again an invitation for such a great audience and for such a great event to think not only in regular terms, but to think in terms of innovation and the way we do the business of defense, procurement, and synergies with the industry. Because you also speak about aerospace, I'm also here to say that in NATO, other than land, sea, and air, we'll be incorporating in what we do for our eastern flank allies, including for Romania, a new generation, a new architecture, air and missile defense systems. That's an encouragement for synergies and cooperation. We'll be incorporating cyber capabilities like never before. And we'll be working also with space components of this multi-domain across the spectrum, NATO forward defense and deterrence. And I look forward also to being in Romania when the battle group led by France as a framework nation will become closer to being fully operational. This is what I want to say here from NATO headquarters, wishing you the best of luck, knowing that this is a moment of epochal transformation in the security of Europe. The war that Russia has waged against Ukraine is a wake-up call for all of us. We cannot take our democracy for granted. We cannot take our security for granted. We are now at the moment of formidable unity inside NATO, and an invitation for us to be more creative, more engaging, and I wish the best of luck to the conference. Mult succes și contați pe noi!